watching GVTV News.
Thanks, Gloria, and I'm Randy Hansen. In today's World News headlines, Obama to sign fiscal cliff bill after weeks of tense talks. And House leaders draw ire for dropping Sandy relief package. And Obama signs bill to extend warrantless wiretapping. And grounded oil rig sparks fresh concerns over Arctic drilling. And out of India, anti-rape outcry follows gang rape victim's death. An envoy warns serious crisis could turn into hell. Thought it already was. And Bahraini policeman sentenced to 7 years for beating detainee to death. And in Ivory Coast, 61 killed in a stampede and 7 aid workers shot to death in Pakistan. And report Iraqi civilian death rise in a low-level war. And North Korean leader Kim Jong-un gives rare New Year's speech. And Chile's 8 ex-army officers charged in the murder of singer Victor Jara. And Bolivia nationalizes operations of Spanish firm Iberdrola. And Venezuelan Vice President Chavez, aware his health status is very complex. And Pope blasts unregulated financial capitalism. And woman charged with murder as a hate crime in New York subway attack. And Wisconsin state senator says almost no black people care about Kwanzaa. And North Carolina governor grants pardons and innocence to Wilmington 10. And leading environmentalist Rebecca Tarbotton dies at 39. Grass Valley Television's broadcast, Grass Valley Television Division of Rural Counties Television Network, whose focus is on community involvement. We also air on NCTV. But before these stories, GVTV News would like to thank one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. In today's first world news story, President Obama is expected to sign a bill to deter the brunt of the tax hikes and spending cuts known as the fiscal cliff that took effect at midnight the other day. Compromise bill passed by the House late Tuesday marks Bush's tax cut permanent for 99% of households, allows tax increases for 5% only on incomes above $400,000 for individuals of $450,000 for couples. The deal also extends unemployment benefits, renews tax credit geared towards low-income families, and delays automatic cuts for military and other spending in 2 months. President Obama compromised on the tax issues after initially backing an increase on family incomes of more than $250,000. Speaking with the White House Tuesday, Obama claimed the deal as a victory. He said, "A central promise of my campaign for president was to change the tax code that was too skewed towards the wealthy and expensive working middle-class Americans. Tonight we've done that. Thanks to the votes of Democrats and Republicans in Congress, I will sign a law that raises taxes on the wealthiest 2% of America while preventing a middle-class tax hike that would have sent the economy back into recession and obviously had a severe impact on families all across America." House Republicans had initially condemned the compromise bill for not cutting deep enough into the social programs. Still, 85 Republicans backed the bill, bringing the final tally in the House at 257 to 167 against it. The compromise followed several weeks of tense negotiations between Republicans and Democratic leaders. House Republicans have reversed their pledge to take up the emergency aid bill this week for states devastated by Superstorm Sandy. The move potentially leaves $60 billion and a package to die at the end of the legislative session on Thursday. The House has expected to consider the bill, but dropped it following lengthy talks on the fiscal cliff. The decision drew harsh condemnation from both sides of the aisle. Republican Representative Michael Grimm of Staten Island, one of the areas hardest hit by Superstorm Sandy, said it is with an extremely heavy heart that I stand here almost in disbelief and somewhat ashamed. Democratic Representative Gerald Nadler of New York blasted his colleagues for failing to take urgent action. He said Hurricane Sandy struck on October 29th, 9 weeks ago. It's unprecedented and it should take so long. I can understand I would not sympathize, but I can understand with members who might say the amount requested is too much. We should change it. We should quibble it. We could debate it, fine, but to ignore plight of millions of American citizens, unprecedented, disgusting, and unworthy of the leadership of the House, they should consider or they should hang their heads in shame, Mr. Speaker. Unquote. President Obama has signed into law an extension of the federal government's sweeping power to conduct a warrantless wiretapping. The Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act allows for the monitoring of domestic phone calls and emails as long as one of the parties of the communication is outside the United States. Controversial program has set to expire in end 2012, but has now been renewed for another 5 years. An oil drilling rig belonging to Shell has run aground on an island in the Gulf of Alaska, providing what environmentalists say is a further proof of the perils of Arctic oil drilling. The rig hit shore Monday night after crew members towing the vessel were forced to disconnect it amid stormy weather. Concerns mounted over a possible spill of diesel fuel and other contaminants on the board. The rig's crew had previously been evacuated. Martin Harmon, the director of Pew Environmental Group of U.S. Arctic Programs, said the incident calls into question our readiness to drill in such a remote and risky region. Obama administration needs to impose Arctic-specific safety training and spill response standards. Clearly, we're not there yet. Anti-rape protests are continuing in India after the death of the 23-year-old student who was gang-raped on a moving bus in New Delhi. The woman's ashes were scattered in the Ganges River Tuesday, and many New York celebrities were cancelled after she succumbed to injuries sustained in the attack. The case sparked a nationwide call for reforms to increase punishment for the rapist and prevent legal cases from languishing. Hundreds of thousands of people took part in a candlelight vigil to honor the victims and call for the 6 suspects to be punished. Anjali said, being a woman, feeling not just about 6 people who have been arrested for the gang rape crime in New Delhi, it is about everything that goes wrong against women. It's about child abuse, it's about domestic violence, it's about rape, it's about molestation, teasing, and very simple things that we can do, both men and women, is that we need to raise our voices. Gang rape case is showing a light on instances of sexual violence in India where one woman is raped every 20 minutes, according to the National Crime Registry. And Syrian government forces are reportedly battling with rebels opposed to President Bashar al-Assad. Near an airport in the northern province of Idlib, the violence comes a day after opposition groups say 75 people were killed across the country. On Tuesday, government air strikes hit rebel-held areas in Aleppo as clashes forced the city airport to shut down. Heavy fighting was also reported near Damascus. On Sunday, UN Arab League peace envoy warned Syria's crisis was deepening and said the situation in Syria is very bad, very, very bad, and the differences are increasing, and that needs to be a political solution to keep Syrian people and to give the Syrian people their rights, their legal rights, or Syria will turn into hell. Jocko's very busy today. 2 policemen in Bahrain have been sentenced to 7 years in jail, each for beating opposition members to death. One died in custody in April 2011. Bahrain has held fresh anti-government protests this week. Despite an ongoing crackdown against demonstrators, Bahrain is a key U.S. ally in the home of the Navy's 5th Fleet. In Ivory Coast, at least 61 people were crushed to death in a stampede following a New Year's fireworks show. Witnesses said police trying to control a crowd of thousands pouring out of a stadium in the city of Abidjan. Scores of people were injured. Most of the dead were children and teenagers. Fireworks display was planned by a government to celebrate peace after months of violence following disputed elections in 2011. And 7 aid workers have been shot dead in Pakistan in what appears to be the latest case of militants targeting health-related groups. Last month, at least 9 volunteers with the polio vaccination drive were killed across Pakistan. Opposition to health efforts has spread after the CIA used a fake vaccination program to help find Osama bin Laden. 5 of the workers killed Tuesday attacked were young women who worked as educators. The remaining 2 were health workers. The new tally shows the number of civilians killed in Iraq rose in 2012 for the first time in 3 years. The British-based group Iraq Body Count says about 4,500 civilians were killed in violence last year. The group said in a statement the latest evidence suggests that the country remains in a state of low-level war, little change since 2009. Iraq Body Count figures is more than twice the number given by Iraqi officials who claim violence is actually dropping. On Monday, at least 23 people were killed and 87 wounded on a series of attacks across Iraq. And North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has called for harmony in South Korea in what he believed to be the first New Year's television address by a North Korean leader in 19 years. In a speech broadcast on New Year's Eve day, Kim made no mention of the country's controversial nuclear program and said the economy was North Korea's top priority. And he said, an important issue in putting an end to the division of the country and achieving a reunification is to remove confrontation between North and South. Past records of inter-Korean relations shows the confrontation between fellow countrymen leads to nothing but war. In Chile, 8 former army officers have been charged for their role in the murder of the protest singer Victor Jara 40 years ago. Jara was arrested and tortured after U.S.-backed overthrow of democratically elected President Salvador Allende. His hands were smashed so he could not play guitar before he was shot more than 40 times. Chilean judge has now ordered the arrest of 2 officers believed to have committed the murder. 6 others who allegedly acted as accomplices. Human rights lawyer Nelson Cocado discussed the significance of the decision and said, it is historical for this country that people like Victor Jara and additionally all the other victims of the dictatorship can have the possibility that a judge can reach this level of process and pinpoint the responsibility of the army officials. Bolivia has nationalized the operation of Spain's largest utility company, Iberdrola. Buildings occupied by the energy firm were seized by Bolivian authorities last week following orders by President Evo Morales, who said the move was made to ensure equality. He said, we consider this measure necessary to ensure equitable energy tariffs in the departments of Aurora and La Paz, and to see that the quality of electrical service is uniform in rural areas as well as urban. This measure guarantees the rights and equality of citizens who live in rural areas and ensure their income with equitable tariffs and quality and service. Venezuelan Vice President Nicolas Maduro has visited President Hugo Chavez in Cuba, where he has been suffering from complications after recent cancer surgery. In a television interview, Maduro attempted to assuage rumors about the president's health, but gave little specific information about the condition. He said, during those days I was able to see him, referring to President Hugo Chavez, twice and speak with him. He is completely conscious of the complexity of his post-operative state, and he especially asked us to keep the people informed always with the truth, regardless of how hard it may be. And Pope Benedict spoke to thousands of followers in the Vatican Tuesday on a day recognized by the Catholic Church as the World Day of Peace. Among the topics the Pope addressed the issue of economic inequality. And he said, although the world is unfortunately still marked as a hotbed of tension and conflict caused by growing inequalities between the rich and the poor, from the dominance of the selfish and individualistic mentality, also expressed by an unregulated financial capitalism, as well as the various forms of terrorism and crime, I am convinced that the many works of peace which are abundant in the world testify to the deep sense of humanity for peace. In New York City, a woman has been charged for murder as a hate crime after allegedly pushing a man to death on the subway tracks because she believed he was a Muslim or a Hindu. Eriki Menendez reportedly told authorities, I pushed a Muslim off the train tracks because I hate Hindus and Muslims. Ever since 2001, when they put down the Twin Towers, I've been beating them up. The victim, 46-year-old Sunando Sen, was a Hindu born in India. He was cremated on Monday. Wisconsin State Senator drawing ire for his comments against the holiday of Kwanzaa. Republican State Senator Glenn Grotham released a statement, why must we still hear about Kwanzaa? He wrote, of course, almost no black people today care about Kwanzaa, just left-wingers who try to shove this down black people's throat in an effort to divide Americans. The comments drew outrage from local Democratic leader Meg Moen, who called for a jaw-dropping and said, not only does Senator Grotham seem to find things unacceptable, she didn't like what he said, so she replied to it In a victory for civil rights advocates, North Carolina Governor Bev Perdue has issued pardons of innocence for Wilmington, Tennessee. The group of the most African-American activists who falsely convicted and imprisoned for firebombing of a white-owned store in the 70s were pardoned, and the waning days of Perdue's administration following a campaign to unequivocally vindicate the Wilmington 10 after their convictions were overturned by a federal court decades ago. Writing comments like KKK good and Uncle Tom type in a statement about Wilmington 10, Governor Perdue said these convictions were tainted by naked racism and represent an ugly stain on North Carolina's criminal justice system that cannot be allowed to stand any longer. Wilmington 10 members Benjamin Chavez appeared on Democracy Now! Last week, and he had said a pardon of innocence would mean that the state of North Carolina finally realizes that the trial, the unjust arrest charges, were all racially motivated, politically motivated, and now it's time, 40 years later, the state to remove this pain from the member of the Wilmington 10, from the community of Wilmington, and from the state itself. It's been an albatross around the state's neck for over 40 years. And leading environmentalist Rebecca Tarbotton has died at the age of 39. Tarbotton was an executive director of the Rainforest Action Network and an advocate for human rights. She died in a swimming accident in Mexico while on vacation. Rainforest Action Network said in a release Tarbotton was the first female executive director of RAN, and a strong female voice in a movement often dominated by men. Tarbotton appeared on Democracy Now! In May talking about the Rainforest Action Network campaign against Bank of America, and she said RAN is involved in today with Bank of America specifically because climate change is the most real and present danger that we have in the environment and to the people all around the country and the world. And Bank of America is lead financier of coal in the country, and in particular coal-firing power plants, for instance, are the largest source of greenhouse gas emissions, which is causing the climate change and the climate chaos. So we're here very specifically to say, Bank of America, look at, you need to get out of coal. You're seriously about this, or any of are serious about this country transforming out of fossil fuels and into renewable energy. And that's it for World News Today. Another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's us.
Soundcheck Music Center, the Rock and Roll Connection. We have guitars, amps, drum equipment, sound accessories, lessons, and repairs. We are located at 671 Maltman Drive, Grass Valley. 530-272-7236, open 7 days a week.
No one needs anyone, they don't even just pretend. Jonah's in America. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't.
That's right, it's time for the police blotter, and pictures in the blotter not from these actual events but used for visual aid only. These public records are obtained from daily logs issued from Nevada County law enforcement. Grass Valley Police Department on Thursday, 7:57 a.m., caller from 200 block of South Church Street reported an office had been broken into last night. 10:37 a.m., a report was taken from 300 block of Miners Trail, reported an unlocked vehicle had been broken into, and a tom-tom and a bottle of prescription medication was taken. 12:01 p.m., a man from 300 block of South School Street reported a woman was stealing his tools slowly and selling them. Property was returned. And 2:40 p.m., a caller from 700 block of Sutton Way reported a man trying to start fights with random patrons. 3:23 p.m., caller from 200 block of Bank Street reported burglary to a residence in November. And 4:11 p.m., caller from 400 block of Brunswick Road reported a woman in a fetal position, yelling. She was moving on. And 4:25 p.m., caller from Mills and Neal Street reported a man passing out. He had been drinking but was not drunk in public. 5:55 p.m., a man from 500 block of Packard Drive reported a woman acting crazy who knocked on his door and said she needed to bug 200 people today. At 8:02 p.m., a caller from 200 block of South Auburn Street reported 3 men came to the door soliciting donations. At 8:50 p.m., a caller from 200 block of Maiden Lane reported theft of items from unlocked vehicle last night. And on Friday, 1:41 a.m., a man from 100 block of West Empire Street reported a vehicle burglary to a pack of cigarettes were taken. At 3:17 a.m., a caller from Pleasant and Wall Street reported a person sleeping on the road. And 3:39 a.m., a caller from 200 block of Pleasant Street reported a man yelling in the area. Nevada County Sheriff's Office on Thursday, 9:16 a.m., a caller from 12,000 block of Charles Drive reported a vehicle break-in with cell phone stolen. And it's 9:32 a.m., a woman from 18,000 block of Dog Bar Road reported threats and abuse by her husband and son. 9:43 a.m., a caller from 10,000 block of Mills Road reported a vehicle break-in with the theft of an iPod. And 10:43 a.m., a woman from 11,000 block of Pleasant Valley Road reported several of her goats were killed last night. And 12:06 a.m., a caller from 11,000 block of Marjan Drive reported a burglary. At 12:51 p.m., a woman from 12,000 block of Sunset Avenue reported a locked vehicle had been broken into. And 1:07 p.m., a caller from 13,000 block of Peardale Road reported a man stole jewelry and other items from his home, and the property was found in a pawn shop. At 1:49 p.m., a caller from 16,000 block of Auburn Road reported a residential burglary. At 3:18 p.m., a caller from 10,000 block of Harmony Lane reported ongoing trespassing. 3:19 p.m., a caller from 13,000 block of Idaho Maryland Road reported unlocked vehicle was broken into and change and a jacket were stolen. 3:29 p.m., a caller from 10,000 block of Bartlett Drive reported 3 or 4 men skateboarding. Someone was arrested on unknown charges. At 3:57 p.m., a man from 14,000 block of Wolf Road reported a man was firing a gun across the street and a round landed on his roof. At 4:50 p.m., a caller from Canyon View Drive reported a person rummaged through a vehicle and left an open knife on the seat. At 5:04 p.m., a caller from 12,000 block of Palmer Road reported hearing 100 rounds fire in the last 10 minutes. And 7:50 p.m., a caller reported a woman had been beaten up by her boyfriend in Pineview Heights. Welfare check was requested and a be on the lookout advisory was issued. 9:19 p.m., a caller from 13,000 block of Torrey Pines reported residential burglary. A party took place on December 22nd while the residence was gone and the house was thrashed. And Nevada City Police Department on Thursday, 9:57 p.m., caller from 100 block of Grove Street reported a person yelling for help. They had been slipping on black ice and were okay. 11:18 p.m., a woman from 200 block of South Pine Street reported hearing an explosion with something landing on her home. That's it for the blotter today. Now, another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. Christopher's Old World Deli and Catering Company has brought its delicious food and service downtown Grass Valley. Like desserts? They got 'em. You like international style lunches? They got 'em. Christopher's Deli and Catering for parties, get-togethers, weddings, or whatever. Open 7 days a week. In today's local news headlines, local teen gets arrested on a gun charge. Grass Valley teenagers facing 5 criminal counts being wrestled to the ground by the police who said they found a loaded handgun on his person. Richard Lyle Roberts, 18 years old, was arrested, charged with carrying a concealed loaded firearm, attempting to sell a firearm, resisting arrest after police officers allegedly found a loaded 9mm Glock handgun after a routine pat-down. The responding officers were unable to locate the suspect when they first said that he had been brandishing a weapon, and but later they returned and found an individual matching the description with a group of young men and women. So the responding officers then attempted to contact a routine pat-down of search for weapons, and Roberts tried to break free. He He was resisting arrest with the officer. He had to put handcuffs on him. And then when they patted him down, they found a gun. Roberts was charged a total of 5 criminal counts and was booked in Nevada County Jail on a $100,000 bail. He's still in jail. That's it for local news today. We would like to thank Amy Goodman, Reuters, Associated Press, Ubinet, Sierra Foothills Report, the Union, local law enforcement, and others for the sourcing of our news, and you for watching. Remember, we are the only visual video news media in Nevada County, and we are free for you to watch 7 days a week. If you have local stories and would like to have them aired on our news, please email us with the story to 750 words, and if you have pictures, please include them in the email to grassvalleytelevision@gmail.com. Please include some type of contact information for verification of facts. You can watch this broadcast on Comcast Cable, NCTV, Channel 11 in Nevada County, 8 a.m., 3 p.m., 7:30 p.m., Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m., Saturday, and 8 p.m. Sunday, and Suddenlink Channel 16 in Truckee and Alta-Sierra, same times. We also are streamed on the internet, NCTV's Digital Media Center website at NevadaCountyTV.org and our website, GVTV.org. And don't forget Grass Valley Television that plays 24/7 on the net, GrassValleyTelevision.com. We post to Facebook, YouTube, Blip.tv, and many other sites, and have RSS feed and video podcast on iTunes. Just search under Video Podcast for GVTV News. Grass Valley Television also videotapes local events around Nevada County. If you have a need for video, you can contact us for more info at grassvalleytelevision@gmail.com or 530-362-8889. This show produced by Grass Valley Television of Rural Counties Television Network. We hope you will stay tuned to us for this next season as we're going to spice up the news in the future. You can always email us ideas and comments, and if you like us on Facebook, we like that. News Player can be embedded on your site, or you can go to our sites, which we had already mentioned. Due to the lack of underwriters this year, we will be doing 3 shows a week, playing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday editions. We should be expanding when we get more community support.